you are. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Can I at least? I can't even normalize that. Last night I was doing a equipping digital missionaries, our online cohort, with some people, and they were in Asia Pacific, and it was 8 p.m., 9 p.m. my time, and it was like 8 to noon their time, like even down in Oceania and Australia, New Zealand, and I'm learning something. Even though they're like right next to each other, Australia and New Zealand people are not the best friends. Like this is, I don't know, geography jokes and things like that. These are things that I was not aware of. But geography, Australia and New Zealand, there's a lot of joking going on between them. I don't know. Maybe U.S. and Canada can be the same. I mean, I have for one, I've been known to make fun of some of my Canadian brethren. So anyway, wherever you, hopefully someone in the next neighboring country is not mocking you publicly. All right. Hey, welcome. We're doing a live stream here, Digital Missions Conference, Digital Missionary Conference coming up 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks away. And I got to be honest, I am in a little bit of a panic mode here trying to get everything done. I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the conference and what's ahead. I'm like the guy in the kitchen that's cooking without a recipe, and he keeps grabbing like ingredients. He's like, "Ooh, let's add a little bit of this," and "Oh, let's do this," and "Oh, we got time, we can do this. Let me do," and I keep trying to mess with it, and it's like, Jeff, you got to push back. You got to push away. You got to let this thing actually have time to cook. And so, man, I'm excited. I'm excited about the conference. We have had a great lineup of keynote talks. We've had a great number of breakouts coming up, and some of the breakouts, honestly, they keep coming and coming. And I, as a matter of fact, right after this stream, I'm having a conversation with another potential breakout coming up, and then we've got sponsors coming in, are left and right, are excited. I'm meeting people that are excited about what's happening in the digital missionary space, and want to help, and want to connect, and want to help be part of empowering digital missionaries to do what they're doing at a global scale. Like, this has been revolutionary, putting this conference together in the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure there's going to be many more of these conferences to come. But hey, let's do this. I'm kind of like, what do I want to do? Oh my, hold on, I got a shout out here. Alice in the palace saying hey, Alice. Man, I hope things are going well. Alice is, man, I feel like I was telling somebody about you today, Alice. I don't even remember who I was talking to. But I mean, Alice is a great story of somebody. I call her my person of peace in VR, in Rec Room. Anytime somebody wants to start a ministry in Rec Room, I'm like, hey, you need to go meet my friend Alice, because she's got her pulse on the finger of Rec Room overall. Does a lot of work with VR Church, a number of other churches in that space. You know what, Alice? At the Digital Missionary Conference, if you can join us, if you're coming, we're doing it in 2 stages. We're doing, I don't know if you know this, a virtual reality stage as well as a broadcast stage. And the guys at, what do they call their church? Pastor Dominic, I think, is Pastor Dominic's his name. I can't remember the name of his church. I really want you to connect with him. They're doing a lot of good stuff in Rec Room as well. I'm okay. I was just making a stupid song cover this morning. All right, good call. I am all for stupid song covers. I know that drill. Hey, Melanie is saying hey as well. Troy is skipping school this morning. It is 11 o'clock his time, and he should not be saying hi, Jeff, right now. He should be saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Teacher, how are you today? I have all my homework made up from when I was out of town the past 3 days skiing. That's what Troy should be saying right now. So, Troy, hang up the phone, bro. Get back to school. All right. Much love for my Troy friends and everyone else that's out there. So, hey, listen, like I said, the Digital Missionary Conference, it is April 2nd. We are weeks away. We are less than 3 weeks away from the Digital Missionary Conference. It is an entire online conference. We're doing it on 2 stages simultaneously on April 2nd, 11 a.m. Eastern. There's going to be a digital broadcast stage, and there's going to be a virtual reality stage. We are leaning in heavy on the metaverse, and my friend Alice here is just one of the reasons why. And I love that. Yeah, hopefully I can be there. Flat Cap showed me the schedule. I love Flat Cap. Flat Cap's actually going to be the virtual reality host. Flat Cap's more of a gamer, and I'm like, Flat Cap, need you to do some homework, bro. I need you to become a VR guy, like right now. And so, dude, he's leaning into it and getting excited. He's been doing a lot of work in ministry in VR in recent weeks, and so we're turning him into a metaverse guy overnight, man. It's really cool. But yeah, so we're doing it on 2 stages where there's going to be keynote talks in broadcast, camera, webcam, the sort of things. And then there's going to be talks exclusively in virtual reality. What happens in virtual reality stays in virtual reality. And so it's going to be on 2 stages. For example, we're going to have Jay Cranda, Innovations Pastor, is going to be speaking on this Innovations Pastor at Saddleback. He's going to be speaking on the broadcast stage. And at the same time, I think we're going to have Pastor Dominic speaking in the virtual reality stage. And so it's going to be this incredible dichotomy, people going back and forth. We're going like the old school rock festivals where, you roll up and you got this stage over here and this stage over here and this one over here. And all these are bands that you want to speak with, but there's only one of you. And so you got to figure out where do I go? We haven't even gotten to the breakouts yet. That's even worse. I feel bad for some of you. These breakouts are so freaking incredible. I love this. Alice is saying, lots of people in Rec Room now doing great stuff. I met someone called Beloved a while back who is dedicated full time to ministry and is on Rec Room at least 5 nights a week. That is really cool. You know what? And this is the deal. I'd love to meet Beloved Alice and invite her into the conference. Here's the deal. There's this illusion right now that the metaverse is dying, that virtual reality ministry is dead, and I don't believe that to be true. I met a guy the other day that says that he brought 1,000 people to Jesus in virtual reality, evangelism, witnessing, sharing. Now, I think that it's dispersed. I think that it's spread out. I don't know that there's a cohesive church that's operating together at a high level yet. Now, there's lots of issues. There's lots of technical issues even with virtual reality churches. But I don't think the ministry model is dead. I think there's way too many people in that space to call any ministry in that space dead. So it's funny to me where, like, I'm going to go off on a soapbox here for a second. Alice, you got me jacked up. It's funny where somebody will launch a church. They'll plant a church in a small town of 1,000 people because, hey, those 1,000 people need Jesus. And I'm going to go be the church. I'm going to be the pastor to those 1,000 people. And then they'll look at like virtual reality and say, oh, well, only 20 million people worldwide are using the platform on a monthly basis, so it's not worth it. Like, it's virtual reality's dead. Only 20 million people are using it. That was so funny. The music background, the tubas. Yeah, I mean that's like it doesn't make sense. Like it's either one way or the other. Like if you're gonna degrade 20 million people and ignore that, then why do you care about the 1,000? No, you should care about the 1,000, and you should care about the potential of 20 million. So that's why we need all sorts of different churches out there, all sorts of different ministries and missionaries out there in that space, which is why what Alice is doing and Beloved and Pastor Dominic and VRMMO and Alina and Pastor Coco and, I can just drop in a whole bunch of different names there. It's why what they're doing is so important in that space, to do something different, to reach the different people. And really, that's what we're highlighting with the Digital Missionary Conference. We're highlighting doing the different things to reach the different people. And we've got a great lineup of people coming in to really celebrate what's happening in digital missionary space. This is incredible. I don't have him for the conference. I regret it. We kind of, if I was going to squeeze one more person in, if I was going to squeeze one more person in the conference, it would be this person right here. His name's Jose. Josh Packard introduced me to Jose, and Josh Packard said, "Hey Jeff, I love the fact that you're asking me to speak at a digital missionary conference." He says, "I just finished working with the Vatican on the validity of digital missionaries. Yeah, literally, we just put a presentation together for the Pope." What? Say that again, Josh Packard? Yeah, Josh Packard's been working with the Vatican, with the Catholic Church, on validating the need of digital missionaries. Okay, the Catholic Church may be more organized than the Protestants when it comes to digital. Like I just, my mouth is blown. And I was like, "Who are you working with?" And he says, "Oh, this guy named Jose, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Hey, can you introduce me?" And so I've been WhatsApping this guy Jose on the side, and he's been watching some of the streams, and we're like constantly, dude, I've met the Catholic version of me, and it is so much fun. Yeah, Alice is saying right now, get Jose in, and Alice, if I you know what's funny, Alice, this is an honest to God moment. I've been poring over the schedule, trying to figure out how I can cram, how I can adjust, how I can move, how I can, and I just can't. But I told Jose, I was like, "Hey man, like, he's coming to this conference, he's going to attend this conference, and is some of his teams coming in as well, and I was so like, you may be connecting and bumping up with Jose in the conference." But I told him, I was like, "Hey, next time we do this in the fall, like, I want you more involved. Like, I don't view the Catholic version of digital missionaries much more different than the Protestant version of digital missionaries." Now, this may be a theological challenge, and we could have this conversation, but I would say at least this. There's more that unites us with our Catholic brothers than separates us from our Catholic brothers. And especially at a missional movement where there are Catholic brothers and sisters using digital to proclaim Jesus and connect people to him. My gosh. Come on board, baby. And so look for Jose and look for more coming from the Church Digital. For years, I have been trying to find the Catholic Church that was open to digital missional type things. And to stumble on this guy organically, accidentally almost, has been so much fun. Which just really, hey, DJ Courageous saying, "Hey, DJ, I'm meeting with him in a little bit. Talking about some things," which really just highlights this potential of you are not alone. In what you're trying to do in ministry, often it does feel alone. Like, I'll be honest, even in my own life, within the past week, I've had a couple moments where I have felt alone and isolated, where I was hoping for a connection and it was rejection. I was hoping for understanding and instead it was separation. I was hoping for a relational connected moment and instead it was a pushback. Like I get that, and I'm the type of person where I carry that. I'm not gonna lie, I carry that. I carry that like a backpack. I'm like is it Atlas? The Greek god who's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders and he's trying to carry it uphill. That's a little bit of me. Okay, that's a lot of me. And it doesn't need to be that way. I've talked recently on a stream. So this is way off topic for the Digital Missionary Conference. But recently I was going through. I had one of my teammates shared with me a Bible verse of Jeremiah, the first chapter of Jeremiah. God says in Jeremiah chapter 1:1-3, "I knit you in the womb. I knew who you were. I uniquely crafted you. Like I designed you to be exactly who I wanted you to be." Jeremiah 1:6, Jeremiah as a child says, I am a boy. I have no words to say. Like, there is nothing I can contribute to this moment. I'm just a young child. Who am I to know? In Jeremiah 1:7, I'm paraphrasing here. You can go read it. Jeremiah 1, the first chapter, Jeremiah 1. God literally says to Jeremiah, well, shut up then and let me speak through you. Let me be the words for you. It's so beautiful. God literally is like, Jeremiah, shut up. Let me be your words. And honestly, it's in that moment where I'm even looking at my own life. And it's like, okay, God, be my words. Let me shut up. Let me back off and do that. And it's funny, in the literal 8 days where I've done that. Okay, God, I am just a stupid boy. I have no words to say. God, I need you to be my words. God, I cannot do this. God, I am broken. God, I am incapable. God, I am humbled. I am not going to strategize myself out of this. God, I need you to do something here that I cannot do. And I am going to sit here and wait for you to do it. I've literally seen him do something in 3 times in the past 8 days. That is something only God can do. I don't want to get into details with it now. You can DM me. We can offline. We can have that conversation. But I have been blown away about how God is able to move things in a big way, digitally and physically. But he moves in this space when we back off and let him move. And I'm actually doing a stream on this later today with some of our teammates talking about prayer-centered digital ministry and what that looks like. And so more soon. I'm way the heck off topic with this stream because I'm supposed to be I took Tuesday off. I get to talk with you all. But here, this is what I want to do. I'm going to push this button. We're going to see how this is going to work. It's close enough. I can make this work. Yay for me. Hey, with the Digital Missionary Conference, here's what I want to do. I want to walk you through the greatness that's coming up real soon with the Digital Missionary Conference. Let me blow this up a little bit so that you guys can see. Hey, it's April 2nd, 2025. That's a Wednesday, 11 a.m. It's Eastern is kicking off. Right now it's clocking in at about a 6-hour conference. 11 to 5 Eastern Standard. That's New York time at home. We're doing this. And so would love for you to do this. By the way, it is a live conference. It's online and in virtual reality. And so costs are covered. Hey, guys, I am so excited about this. It is a 100% free conference. Thanks to the sponsors that have come alongside and are sponsoring this conference. These are people, these are our companies, these are organizations. Guys, these are churches. There are churches that are giving money to the Digital Missionary Conference so that we can empower and equip you to be digital missionaries in that space. I got to stop moving my hands. My camera's getting out of focus. But it's been this beautiful. It's been a shocking picture to me. Like literally a couple of these things have come through and I'm like, wow, I got to tell you, I didn't see that coming. I can't believe this church is giving into this. I can't believe a church is partnering with us like this. Like it's been a beautiful picture about how God is using the church to empower missional movements in digital spaces. We are doing, like I've said, we are doing one conference on 2 stages simultaneously. We're doing, if you know Altar Live, it's a highly interactive broadcast platform. If you don't know Altar Live, I tell people, if YouTube and Zoom had a baby, if YouTube and Google Meet had a baby, it would be Altar Live. It's heavily broadcast centric. It's like Chop with the ability to talk and interact with people directly. One of the things I don't like about some of this broadcast stuff is you're not able to really lean over and whisper to the person next to you. Altar Live's figured out how you can lean over and whisper to the person. Like it's heavily engaging, heavily interactive. And so we're going to be able to do this conference literally with people around the world. And by the way, we've had registrations come in. Guys, we've had like 40 gals. We've had like 45 countries registered for this conference already. It is ridiculous, the number of countries. And countries, to be honest, some of these countries, like I've had to like go to Google and I'm like, where are you? I'm not going to call out your country. I'm not going to say which ones it was. I have a couple in my mind. But a couple of these countries have showed up on the registration, and literally, I'm like, I don't even. Is that really a country? I've never heard of this before. Chat GPT made this country up. No, it actually was a legitimate country. One of them I really did thought it was like somebody was pranking me. And then the other, we are doing at the same time. And this is the creme de la creme. If you're listening, Alice, like this is the box office. This is the super exclusive environment, virtual reality. We are doing a virtual reality conference in Spatial. Now, like I said, with Spatial, some of this is going to be, you'll be watching what's happening in the broadcast environment. Some of this, Alice is like, what's a country? Okay, that's fair. That's fair, Alice. I'll give it to you. I've had, I often have felt that virtual reality was the eighth continent. That the metaverse is going to become the eighth continent that is outside of geographical barriers. But Alice asking that, Alice, by the way, is from England. I think that's a very funny. Alice, USA only knows about countries if they want to. Okay, Alice, when I opened the show talking about not mocking other people's countries, did you miss that part? I mean, you're not wrong, Alice. There may be a little bitterness because we beat you, Alice, like 200 years ago, Alice. But who am I to judge? That's fine. I hear you. It's good. Much love. Much love, Alice. I appreciate the humor of this situation very, very, very much. All right, Alice, you're making me get off topic. Let's get in here. But we've had hundreds of countries register for this thing. But in metaverse, in the virtual reality, here's the deal. We're limiting capacity for the virtual reality to 50 people. The software breaks down at 51, and we can do what's called other instances and map it to other servers. And there's a technical way to do some of this stuff. But honestly, it starts to break down the interaction, specifically centered around how we wanted to do the keynotes that are going to be spoken in virtual reality. So guess what? We are offering the first 50 people to get inside the room. That is getting you, that's it. First 50 people in the room, that's it. Somebody leaves the room, somebody else can come in. So if you get in there, great for you. If you want to camp out and click that link to get into VR as soon as possible, we'll let you know when the doors open and you can be the first one in. Make sure to clip on multiple batteries. The good news is, and one of the reasons why we did want to do Spatial over VR chat, as Alice says, Spatial has the advantage that people without VR can join from a browser. This is very true, and Alice is actually right. That is exactly why we went with Spatial over VR chat, because of the 2D viewing, because this allows people with a web browser to come in and experience that. And so you can. We want you to come into the conference. You have the ability to go back and forth between VR and broadcast as long as there's room for you in VR. And so this is what's happening here with the two different conferences, the two different stages we're doing within the same conference. Now, this is a really important thing right here. You see this right here? Recordings of the keynotes on demand, available globally, only for those that register. Hey y'all, we've got a ton of content for free on YouTube. But I'm going to be honest with you, this conference is not going to make it on YouTube. We're not going to do it. The only people that are going to have access to what happens at this conference in our keynotes are the people that register. You can either watch it live or you can watch it on demand. We get the importance of on demand, but you got to register. You have to sign up for the conference. This is not we'll just watch it on YouTube casually, 2 to 3 months. No. You have to register for that. It's going to be in a password protected section, an elite grab bag of sorts that our partners are want to give to you, bonuses and benefits connecting to their ministries of what they're doing. At the end of the day, you want to watch any of the keynotes, any of these incredible lineup of speakers I'm about ready to share with you, you got to register to see it live, or you got to register to access the videos on demand. And no, I'm not kidding. No, I'm not apologizing. Like, this is an incredible opportunity, and you're welcome Hey, we're going to have an incredible number of keynote talks. I think there's 11 keynote talks in 6 hours on 2 stages. Like, it's going to be a jam-packed 5 hours, 6 hours. There's breakout sessions. I think we're going to tap 30 different breakout sessions. We'll get into that here in a little bit. And like I said, there is a virtual reality experience. So let's get into some of the keynotes. Some of the ones that I'm talking about. Everybody, digital and virtual, is going to have access to starting and sustaining a movement that's going to be led by David Nelms. David Nelms is founder of the Timothy Initiative. The Timothy Initiative, their goal this year is to train 180,000 missionaries to plant churches. Let me say that again. This guy's organization, a former U.S. physical church pastor, lead pastor, he moved out of the pastor movement to start a missionary movement. And that missionary movement, the Timothy Initiative, their goal in 2025, this calendar year, 180,000 church planters, 180,000 missionaries. Incredible movement that started with David Nelms and his crew. And so we're going to dive into David, and we're going to learn from David. David's not the most digitally friendly person. Let's just call it what it is. Dude's a huge supporter of what we, the Church Digital, are doing. You know, Jeff, I don't understand it, but I support you in doing it. Like, that's the language coming from this. Jay Cranda, by the way, now the Innovations Pastor, new title for Jay over at Saddleback Church, contextualizing and engaging with international cultures. Everybody's going to be hearing this talk from Jay in digital and virtual environments. Super excited about that. Jay literally texted me when I was texting him what I wanted him to talk about. He's like, ooh, I've never talked about that one before. And so he's excited. He does this stuff all the time. Not even with Saddleback. There's stuff that Jay does outside of Saddleback that nobody's supposed to know about. But you know, I talk about how Jason Morris is like the smartest person. And like number 2, maybe Dr. John, and Anbo Sarge is number 3. Jay Cranda rounds out the top 4. I'm like number, 89 on that list. But Jay, some of the stuff that he's doing off the cuff, don't tell anybody, is ridiculous. Maybe he'll leak. Maybe he'll share some of that in the talk today. But excited about Jay and that. And by the way, for an OG, for one of the original guys that's doing digital ministry, dude's looking a little old. Feel free to tell him I said that. Jay, if you're watching this, you're looking a little old on that side. Hey, I'm going to be doing a talk. I'm changing my talk schedule-wise. New wineskins. 2025 is a season of new wineskins in digital missions and digital missionary work in ministry overall. And so excited to kind of open up the conference, talk about that. Active listening from El Michelle. This is a virtual reality talk, exclusive talk. This may be the most excited thing we're going to do the entire time. El Michelle is going to be doing a deep dive in how to do active listening. This is the beautiful thing, and this is what a lot of people don't understand about virtual reality ministry. Alice does. Alice understands this. It's all about listening. It's oftentimes as Christians, we go into missional opportunities. We go into places like virtual reality. We won't shut up. We're like a streamer. We're like a radio DJ all day long because we want to preach. That's how, we've been programmed for decades to share the gospel. You share the gospel by talking. I would suggest in virtual reality, you do need to talk. The idea of, share Jesus and if you have to use words. No, you have to use words. But you have to listen before you speak. You have to earn the right to speak by listening and understanding first. And that's what we really want to get into, is we're going to do a training in virtual reality on how to do active listening. And then we're actually going to do an exercise where we break up and we do the active listening exercise in the virtual reality room with others. And so it's going to be beautiful. What's working digitally, globally? Matthew Neerman is doing this for a broadcast. This is going to be, he's the director of global research for Lausanne. Super excited to see what David's got. Matthew has a wide number of research projects that are happening globally. He's connected to continent to continent to continent, put together a multiple 100-page report on the effectiveness of the gospel being spread, the Great Commission report. I think there was like 80 pages of digital, of what God is doing in digital space and how it's moving from continent to continent. And I asked Matthew, I was like, hey, what are you learning? Like, what's standing out? What are the trends that maybe we need to start to dig into? And so Matthew Neerman, global research director for Lausanne, is going to be unpacking that. The digital mission field is ready. Are we? This is a great breakout as well. I talked with Meheret yesterday. He's just up the road to me in Orlando, Florida, but he works with Jesus Film, which is part of Crew, but he's the director of digital strategy for Jesus Film. Jesus Film is kind of like another unsung secret in digital mission space. They are doing an incredible number of projects. If you've done any missionary project at a global level, you're probably familiar with the Jesus Film. It's literally a 2-hour movie about Jesus. And okay, that's great. You show it. Millions of people have gotten saved as a result of watching this movie and the subsequent discipleship that happens afterwards. But what is not known is the number of experimental research projects that the Jesus Film is running, almost like in labs behind the scenes. Even in spaces like the metaverse and VR chat and Roblox and video games and Discord. And so it's a very aggressive organization. And Meheret, as director of their digital strategies, he is super excited about the missional implications of what he's seeing in digital space. So excited about that. And then we've got Jasmine Ng. Jasmine's coming in, engaging the Web3 community as digital missionaries. Jasmine leads CW3, Christians in Web3. It's a gathering organizations of Christians who are excited about Web3, blockchain, crypto, more than just the VR side of Web3. And she really discovered something interesting as she brought some of these people in. Like, it's one thing to gather Christians together, but what Jasmine discovered was, as she was gathering those Christians together, she saw a missional opportunity to equip and use these missionaries, to these people as missionaries, to connect with others in the Web3 community. And so Jasmine's actually going to tell her story of how she's starting to develop a missionary movement in the Web3 community using Christians that are excited about Web3. Super cool. We talked about Josh Packard earlier, author of Church Refugees, coming alongside Dr. John Harris. Dr. John Harris, lead pastor of digital church called Hearts Like His, no stranger to the church digital here, been a supporter for a very, very long time. Dr. John, I would say, and I don't mean this awkwardly, probably has a small man crush on Josh Packard. If not in that sense, Dr. John is obsessed with the book Church Refugees. Every time I've had an interview with Dr. John, which has been a dozen plus times over the years, Dr. John's found a way to work in some stat, some reference, some quote from Josh Packard's Church Refugees. So much so that the last time he did it on the Giving Tuesday stream, late 24, I said to Dr. John, hey, if I can get an interview between you and Josh Packard, would you do that? And dude started like blubbering like a giddy schoolgirl. Like it was really funny. And so we made it happen. I'm connecting Dr. John with Josh Packard. They're going to have a conversation about Church Refugees, which is ultimately about discipling de-churched people in digital space. Now, I lined this interview up, not knowing that Josh Packard was already working with the Catholic Church on the opportunities with digital missionaries. And so now understanding that Josh Packard's actually pro-digital, connected with a digital lead pastor like Dr. John to talk about de-church digital discipleship, this may be the second most excited thing I'm about. No offense, Jay Cranda and everybody else along the lines. This is a cool one. Meta Crusade. Alice, this is the person I want to connect you with. This is Pastor Dominic. I'm so excited about what I'm learning about Meta Crusade. This is a relatively new organization for me. It's been on the outside. It's been somebody I've been wanting to connect with and just haven't had time. But I've been diving in lately with Meta Crusade and learning more about it. It's a very charismatic group of guys that are excited about doing ministry in I know they're doing a lot of work right now in Rec Room. They're exploring different ideas in Fortnite and some of the other gaming spaces. But his passion, Pastor Dominic's vision for the gaming space, not necessarily just virtual reality, but the MMOs, the different gaming platforms, the Roblox, the Minecrafts, like all that together. Let's be honest. At some point, all the metaverse and the gaming, all that's going to get melded into one thing. But when he looks at this, like I'm not putting words in his mouth, although these are my words too. He says, Jeff, this is the future of the church. And so I was like, dude, you got to come in. You got to share with this group your passion. And so Pastor Dominic for the VR crowd is going to be sharing a hardcore passion for for his desires in virtual space. Meta Crusade, they do events late at night, get people to dance right. Haha. I have no idea what the dance right thing is, but yeah, sure. If you say so, Alice. She's the boss. Flat Cap. I'm excited to Flat Cap. This was my idea. We sat down with the church recently. Flat Cap and I did, and they've been struggling to get, I would say, qualified teachers to come in and preach. And I said to Flat Cap, I was like, hey, let's try something different. And I brought in a framework, a simple framework that I've used a couple times when I would have to, but when I was doing talks, when I was preaching to like young adults or students, youth kids. And so, sometimes I get called in to preach. And to be honest, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a teacher, but I used a really simple framework that actually leans more on active listening than study and research and preaching to really design the talks and to really work on like having a conversation while preaching. And so we're running some tests with the church and it's gone well in virtual reality. And so I was like, hey, Flat Cap, why don't we do this as a talk for the virtual reality audience? And so Flat Cap is designing and doing it, preaching to the metaverse, where he's going to walk through this framework that we're utilizing in virtual reality. So excited about that. Stuart Freeman's another one I'm excited to come in. He's relatively new to the Church.digital universe. He's been a friend from a distance, I would call it that. He's been a missionary in VR chat, doing a lot of work in VR chat. I said that, but he's working through Jesus Film now, and so coming alongside, he's evangelist and discipleship specialist for Jesus Film, and he's going to be talking about the challenge of being a missionary in a platform like VR chat, in a platform that's basically the red light district of virtual reality. What does that even look like? All right, and then on the website we've got a quite literal ton of breakouts. Now, I had somebody tell me, Jeff, you've got so many breakouts, it's not fair. Are you going to record these breakouts so that I can see the breakouts later on? The answer to that question is honestly no. What happens in breakout stays in breakout, and you've got two options, the 11:45 and the 1:45 Eastern New York time. And so you can plug in to whatever breakouts are available. Well, Jeff, there's so many breakouts, I'm not going to be able to see all the ones I need to see. That sounds like a bad problem to have. Good news, it can be solved quite easily. Invite other people. Invite your teammates, invite your friends, invite your mother, invite somebody with a tape recorder. I don't care how you do it, but invite other people to come to the Digital Missionary Conference. Good news number 2, conference tickets are free thanks to our donors and sponsors. So you quite literally can just have them come. Tell them which breakouts you want them to go to. They can take notes for you, and then you can meet up afterwards and hash through what needs to get hashed through. Sorry, guys. This is literally, we can't record. Technological limitations, number of other things, privacy concerns. There's going to be a lot of dialoguing, and we just don't want to get to the place where we're recording these breakouts. So if you want to have others, if there's other topics that you just aren't going to be able to get to in person, invite somebody else to come into the journey with you. And so that's a easy fix there. But look for that. A couple really cool breakouts Gabe DeWalk, I just happened to hit that one. That was actually when I was fishing for. The Ministry That Never Sleeps. Gabe, lead pastor of King Tide, is also director of marketing for a mega church, Seacoast, that's sponsoring the event. Gabe, maybe one of the top asynchronous church guys in the country right now. And the ability that he's used to do asynchronous through Discord, through other platforms and apps, is incredible. So if you are interested in a synchronous community, I would seriously connect with him in this breakout here on that. Kingdom Growth Hacking using Google for evangelism. Jesse Carbo, founder of the Digital Missions Project, by the way, on the Church Digital Board of Directors. Very excited about what Jesse's bringing into this conversation about how to utilize Google, the Google Ad Grant, and things like that. I'll tell you, we just recently flipped the switch on some campaigns using Jesse, and our YouTube subscription skyrocketed as a result of it. Like, in an immediate way, we saw immediate results to what he was bringing to the table. So excited to see him bring that in. By the way, I mentioned Ann earlier, Ann Bosarge, Crossing the Cultural Divide. Jay Cranda's going to be talking a lot about engaging in the global spaces. Ann's done this as well. Ann is an American who lives in Southern Georgia. Just a Southern Georgia gal who actually is leading a very effective, whether you would call it a church or whether you would call it a digital discipleship movement. She's helping to digitally disciple probably 1,000+ people in Africa right now, like legitimate people in Africa. And so we're excited to learn from Ann in this and how you can make that pivot, how to be sensitive to, hey, you know what? I am not of the same country. I'm not of the same mindset of the people I'm trying to reach, which is very important to do. Pastoring in virtual reality. Alina Delp, pastor of VR at MMO Church, is going to be speaking as well on this, and I can keep going on and on and on. Model of care in a digital community. Rebecca Bailey from Hope Made Strong coming in to speak on that. Hope Made Strong is doing a lot of work with us to provide mental health care and kind of reshape some things. Like, there's so much goodness. Praying like monks, living like fools. Whitebeard, punk monk. Oh my gosh, it's going to be such a good conference. Alice comes back into the show here a little. DJ Courageous first. Sheesh, that's a lot of breakouts. Yeah, dude, and there's probably another 5 or 6 that need to get added to the website. DJ, I want to add yours to there. We can have that conversation, I think, later today. Alice does say, I did go to a Meta Crusade event, and to encourage people to stay 1 week, there was a dance-off at the end with a promise of a prize. That's what I meant. Yeah, okay. All right, so there's a dance-off. Hey, you know what? I mean, they're charismatic. They're filled with the Spirit. I get it. So, love it. Hey, this is just the beginning, y'all. By the way, I did want to kind of call out here, and this is not even, we need to update the website even more. Oftentimes, we doing digital ministry, we feel alone. We feel isolated. I want you to look at some of the organizations here. Word Revolution, Jesus Film Project, One Church Software, Reliant, Christ Journey Church, Digital Missions Project, Miami Vineyard, True Center. There are more churches. There are more organizations we've got to add that have come on board within the past 24 hours. There's a lot of organizations that are excited about the work that you're doing in digital and virtual spaces, digital missionary work that you're doing in digital and missional spaces. Let me say that line over again for the social media crowd. There are a lot of corporations that are out there right now that are excited about the mission work that you all are doing in digital and virtual spaces. And so don't feel alone in this season. Join this conference, sign up for free, swing over here, meet some people, shake some virtual hands, fist bump somebody in virtual reality, learn a thing or two from a keynote, get jacked up excited about what you can do through a breakout, and tackle 25 with a new energy. Have a clearer focus of what maybe God is calling you to do coming off this conference. And honestly, I just pray that God would do something through you or to you, or both through and to you, in this new season as a result of what happens here in the Digital Missionary Conference. All right, well, look at this. We are 19 days, 23 hours, 12 minutes, and 23 seconds away from the kickoff of the Digital Missionary Conference. If you're watching this video on demand, of course, those numbers are not accurate. Just saying that hashtag. So let's do this. I want to see you coming up soon at the Digital Missionary Conference. For more information on any of this, you want to go to our webpage, which looks a lot like this. This is a long scroll, I'm just saying. We got a new site coming out. Digital Missionary Conference is at missionary.digital. That is www.missionary.digital. All right, everybody. Hey, I got to wrap. I got to jump into some other things, but I'll see you soon here at the Church Digital. And of course, sign up now for the Digital Missionary Conference. All right, everybody. Thanks. Have a good one.